Over the last 2 weeks, the focus has been on what the Bengals' opponent would do to beat them. I spent a lot of time talking and discussing how the Titans would beat Cincinnati, what they needed to do to advance to the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. I did not think that the Cincinnati formula would work against Kansas City. In both weeks, the Bengals found a way to prove me wrong. This week, I'm going to start highlighting what they've done well and how the formula can continue for one more game as they go for Super Bowl 56 and Lombardi Trophy against the Los Angeles Rams. Let's start right here. Teams do not traditionally do what we've witnessed the Bengals accomplish. Potentially, Joe Burrow could win his fourth consecutive playoff game and begin his career 4-0 in the postseason. Tom Brady is the only quarterback to do that, to win his first 4 playoff starts. And again, Burrow does it with a win over the Los Angeles Rams a week from Sunday. In the wild card era of the playoffs, we've never seen 2 teams play in all 4 playoff games. So we have far more data to analyze with this particular matchup. And we'll continue to do that all next week live from Los Angeles as Outkick hits LA. When you look at how these teams won games in the playoffs and during the regular season as well, it feels very likely that this game is going to be a fourth quarter game. It's not going to be decided until the last few minutes. And that's what we all hope for with as great as the last 2 weeks have been in the NFL playoffs. Every play has mattered the last 2 weeks. And I think going in, just initial takeaway, I think it's going to be a very good matchup. I think way too many people are picking the Rams initially from the jump to cover. Cincinnati, thanks to Evan McPherson, has scored on a very high percentage of their possessions. If you exclude the possessions where they're taking a knee at the end of a half or the end of a game, here's what they've done in the postseason. Against Vegas in the wild card round, they scored on 6 of their 8 drives. Against Tennessee, they scored on 5 of 11 possessions. Against Kansas City, they scored on 6 of their final 9 possessions. That is very solid production from Zach Taylor's group in that offense there with Joe Burrow. And I think there are 2 initial areas for how the Bengals win the Super Bowl. First is the kicking game, the Evan McPherson factor. McPherson has been a major factor for the Bengals. He's single-handedly giving them an edge. He's swinging games, and he's the reason why the Bengals are here. We've never seen a kicker make 3 50-plus yard field goals in one postseason before this year. McPherson's done it. He's 12 for 12 overall. Only one kicker in history has made more than 12 kicks in one single postseason, and that's future Hall of Famer Adam Vinatieri. He made 14 in 2006. The Bengals already have 3 one-possession wins on their playoff resume. That's no doubt where McPherson has been the difference. On the Rams side, their kicker has not been the difference. They've got a kicking problem, at least compared to McPherson. They've gone for it in situations where the Bengals probably take the field goal. Matt Gay has missed 2 kicks this postseason. His long is just 46. So when you think about it from the 30,000-foot view, one team is confident from 54 yards and the other team is not. It's hard not to look at that and think that's a big factor going into this matchup. And then number 2, the Bengals are forcing turnovers. They are taking care of the football and they get takeaways. And that is a lethal combination this time of year. Their defense has forced 2 takeaways against Vegas, 3 against Tennessee, and then 2 more against Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. And they've scored 20 points off of those turnovers. They've kicked a game-winning field goal off of interceptions in each of their last 2 wins. And they've intercepted Carr back in the wild card round, which was at the goal line. And that sealed the victory for them to advance to take on the Titans in Nashville. And then there's their offense. In early December, Burrow and company, they led the NFL in points lost due to turnovers, but they've only turned it over 2 times in the last 6 games. And that's been a great factor for Burrow, despite how many times he gets sacked or how much pressure he's feeling. He doesn't often turn it over, at least not during this playoff stretch where they continue to advance and surprise everyone. And on the Rams side, Matthew Stafford, his interception numbers, well documented. He had 8 in the final 4 regular season games. He had 1 last week, which was inside the red zone. 49er safety Tart, he should have had another pick in the fourth quarter. And think about what the Rams did against Tampa Bay. 3 turnovers as the Rams tried to charge ahead, and instead the Bucs pulled the comeback off of the turnovers. Stafford, though, stepped up in a big way late in that fourth quarter to go down and win the game at the very end. The kicking game and the turnover margin, huge in determining the winner of Super Bowl 56. Next week from Los Angeles, I'll focus on the quarterbacks and the matchup in this game, the run game, the explosive plays. Both of these teams can get after it there on the 20-plus and 40-plus yard plays, and the Rams pass rush against the Cincinnati offensive line, which is the matchup everyone's talking about. Join us next week. Outkick 360 is going to be live in LA all week long. It'll be myself, Chad Withrow, Paul Kuharsky, Armando Salguero, Clay Travis as well. We're going to be live at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, with solid interviews, analysis, very special guests, and much more. Until then, you can follow us on social media at Outkick 360, or check out the site. Armando's got you covered on all things NFL and all things Super Bowl 56 at Outkick.com.